Hey everyone, I am so excited today to have Michelle Jeyner all the way from Meridian, Alabama?
Mississippi.
Oh, Mississippi. Where is my brain? Mississippi. They're close to each other, aren't they?
Yes, next door.
Okay, so I need to brush up on my geography. Thank you so much for applying to be part of the series, Michelle. I am thoroughly enjoying the series and getting to know people more up close. And I wanted to do this because not only I want to talk to you guys more one-on-one, but I also want people to see the faces behind the people that have joined Shimmy Mob. So I see in your application, you have been teaching for the past 14 years, at least, is that correct?
I've been belly dancing for the past 14 years. I've been teaching for about the last 3.
Okay, that's cool. And can I ask you, how did you get into belly dance in the first place?
I actually saw a local group performing somewhere, and I thought it was amazing. And I said, hey, I want to do that. And a friend of mine talked me into going and taking a class, and I got hooked.
And you haven't stopped since?
I haven't stopped since. I didn't start belly dancing until I was 34, 35.
Cool. Love it. Love it. Love it. Did you ever take any other dance forms before you got into belly dance? Or that was just like, I'd never done dance before, but that's what I'm going to do kind of thing?
I was never a dancer kind of person. I mean, I love to dance, but I've never taken any type of dance form before. I've never been formally trained in ballet or tap or jazz or anything like that. But I really enjoy belly dance.
That is cool. So just curious to see the thought process, because this may be encouraging some other people that may think about starting belly dance, but they're not so sure. So what was your thought process? Like the troupe that you saw that inspired you, were they young people? Were they older women? Was there, what about the group itself? Was it the dance, or was also the age group?
It was a little bit of everything. One person in particular, she's a few years older than I am, and she's built about like I am. And the group ranged. I mean, there was a wide age range, all different ages, body types, heights, weights, just a big mix. And I thought, she's beautiful and she's having a great time. I want to do that.
So what style in particular?
Well, she describes her style as Gypsy World Fusion. Her style was, I'm no longer with that troupe, but her style was more, it was just a very eclectic mix of different styles, sometimes cabaret, a little bit of ATS mixed in.
Mm-hmm. So now that you teach, what styles do you teach? Is that the same style you teach, or do you teach different styles? Or
No, primarily American cabaret.
Okay. So what would you say is the age range in your students?
My students range in age. I've had as young as 22, and my oldest student will be 64 next week.
Wow, that is cool. That's exciting. It's nice to see the wide range. It's not like from 20 to 30. It's full range from early 20s all the way to the 60s. And I remember when I used to teach, I just loved that aspect. I would get the teenagers, and then I would get, the retired woman who had already and in the same class and working together. It's just so, like you said, it's so beautiful to see how this dance form welcomes not only all ages, but all body types, like you said, right?
Our Shimmy Mob team, we had so many ages and nationalities represented. We had, every different ethnicity and religious background that you can think of. We had a girl from Japan. We had one from Venezuela, one from Costa Rica, just a lot of different ethnicities and ages and languages, and but the dance seems to bring it all together. It doesn't really matter where you're from or what your beliefs are anywhere in any other aspect of your life, dance brought all these women together. And each woman has a different reason for wanting to be a part of it. And some of them are victims of abuse. Some of them work in advocacy programs for victims. So we have a lot of different backgrounds, but we all enjoy the dance, and it's a great way for us to come together as women and just have fun. You know, what I tell people is some people garden, some people crochet, I belly dance.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you really have a worldwide team in your area because they're from everywhere.
Yes, we are in a small southern town, but we're also a military community. So we have a lot of people from all over the world here.
Mm-hmm. So that's what makes it so varied in ethnic backgrounds. Okay, so that kind of explains it. That's cool. So you said, okay, I forgot to mention that you have been a team leader for how many years now? You've done it? 3.
This year, 2017.
And you've done beautifully, and you've had one of the belly dance superstars in your team. You've had Jessie a couple times.
Petite Jamila, superstar Petite Jamila. She is my mentor. I go and train with her at every possible opportunity, and she has been gracious enough to come and teach workshops. Every World Belly Dance Day, every Shimmy Mob Day, we spend the day doing workshops and then do our performance that evening. And she has been a huge influence on me and my team. And she's brought people in, and she's just been a huge help. And anybody that, if you ever get a chance to take a workshop with her, do it. She is so much fun, and she has so much knowledge to share. And we're just really, really lucky to have her.
Yeah, I actually have taken workshops with her. She and three of the other belly dance superstars were in Mexico, did an intensive week in Cancun, and I was there. It was a lot of fun. And she taught this beautiful, absolutely gorgeous choreography. I don't forget it. Yeah. So yes, she's a beautiful dancer and a really good instructor as well. So anybody that gets a chance to take her workshops or to even see her dance, because she's like the master of spins.
Yes.
Yes. She's incredible. I remember the first time I saw her, I was like, oh my goodness, I got dizzy watching her. Like, wow. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So Petite Jamila, if you're watching this, we love you. Yeah. So can I ask you, what prompted you, how did you find out about Shimmy Mob, and what prompted you to join?
Well, I had heard about Shimmy Mob years and years ago. The troupe I was with, they weren't really interested in doing it. So as soon as I was out on my own and doing my own thing, I decided this was what I wanted to do. Carol Laughlin has been here to Meridian, and I knew she was a part of it, and she and I messaged back and forth, and it's just something that I really wanted to do. I work in a law enforcement environment, and I see the effects of domestic violence on families and in our community. And our charity, Care Lodge Domestic Violence Shelter, they serve a lot of different counties. They're kind of the only game in town, or the only game in this part of the state, really. Mm-hmm. So they serve an awful lot of people, and their needs are great. And so the support needs to be great. So every little bit helps. Whatever we can do as far as raising money or awareness or anything, that's what we want to do. But they have a wide variety of services for victims. They also offer classes for offenders, and they have a huge impact on that issue in our community. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to help get that out there.
That is fantastic, and thank you for joining and seeing the benefits of doing that, of being part of this. So before I forget, I want to give a big shout out to Carol, because Carol has been a team leader in Texas, and I know she's she puts her heart and soul into Shimmy Mob as well. So I'm glad she was an influence on you to participate, or you just met her and you guys talked about it?
Met through a mutual friend, and I knew she was involved with this, and when she found out I was doing it and becoming a team leader, she messaged me, and she was so excited. She's been very supportive, and she's a great resource for information. Mm-hmm. Shimmy mom. So she's been a great help. She's a great asset.
Yeah, she definitely is. So Carol, when you're watching this, we love you too. So going back to what you were saying earlier about, the domestic violence and the cases there in your area, do you happen to know, not everybody knows this, but I know in some areas, some people are more aware of the situation. Do you happen to know what the statistics are in your local area? For example, when I was in Las Vegas a couple of years ago, I had the privilege to talk to the representative of the shelter for Las Vegas that Shamima was raising funds for, and I asked what were the statistics for Las Vegas, and the response was 1 every 2 people. One in every other woman pretty much is a statistic of domestic violence. So do you know what the statistics happen to be in your area?
Off the top of my head, I don't. And I work in the court system, so I can't even tell you without looking it up how many cases we handle a month or anything like that. What we have become more focused on is addressing the root cause.
Mm-hmm.
And so our judge is pretty harsh on domestic violence offenders. And so he really tries to get people into treatment for whatever their issues are. And the charity that we partner with offers those classes for both the offender and for the victim. But it's a lot of, I've seen all kinds of cases and homicides and, as a result of domestic violence, we officers at the hands of domestic violence. We lost one just recently, about a month ago, who had been an officer for 20 years.
Mm.
So anyway, that's it's a big issue, and it's something that needs to be addressed. We had another officer many years ago who was actually killed on duty. She was responding to a domestic violence call. And domestic violence calls are the most dangerous calls for law enforcement officers.
Mm-hmm.
And
I believe that, because that's in the moment that, when domestic violence happens, at least this is my experience, my understanding of other situations too, that when that is happening, there is such a rage going on, because it's like the person they're out of control. They see no reason. They're just complete out of control for whatever reason brought them to that stage. And it's almost never really the partner that really brings them, that it's some other issue that's brought them to be the way they are, right? It's something they've carried on for a while. That is, you're right. Like I can totally see how those statistics make sense, that like the officers are at higher risk when they respond to these kinds of situations. So how do, I know I'm really curious, and I'm sure maybe the people are watching this too. How are the officers? Are they doing anything to protect themselves, since they know these are the kind of most dangerous situations or calls to go to?
our officers go through a lot of training to deal with situations just like this, so that not only can they keep themselves safe, but hopefully they can de-escalate any situation that could end in injury or death to anybody. Because it's a very dangerous situation for everybody. So aside from the training they get in the academy, they also go through other training outside of that and go through it on a regular basis to stay on top of their game, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a call you ever want to really respond to by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's always advisable for an officer to have backup on those kinds of calls. The officer I was referring to who was killed on duty, she actually saved another officer's life by letting him know not to come in.
Wow.
And that was the last thing she said.
Mm.
Was telling her partner not to come in. But officers are put in a very dangerous situation, and they're trying to keep themselves safe. They're trying to keep the victim in the situation safe. They're trying to, sometimes there are children there. It's just a really bad deal all around.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the domestic situations, it could be fueled by alcohol use, drug use. A lot of it is fueled by substance abuse.
Mm.
You have so many things that can tie together, whether it's lack of a job or drug addiction or whatever, and it may not be anything that the victim said or did in particular. It could be the abuser just mad at the world or mad at whatever and needing someone to take it out on. And
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there is no excuse to, doesn't matter how one person behaves, it is no reason to abuse them and hurt them. Like, if you don't like what they say, walk away, kind of thing, right?
it's tough because a lot of abusers have this mentality. It's what do they call it? It's like passive aggressive personality disorder. Nothing is ever their fault. It's always got to be someone else's fault. So when it's the whole the guy hits the woman and says, "Oh, you made me do that." No, she didn't. You did that.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, and there's no excuse to put hands on someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it happen the other way around, where the woman is abusing the man. But it happens in same-sex relationships. It
Mm-hmm.
happens heterosexual relationships, but it's not. It's never justified.
No,
There's just an excuse.
you're right. You're right. Yeah. 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 It's unfortunate, and I don't know if you've heard me say this before, but I mean, when I started Shimmy, it was about raising funds. But now I'm like in the last couple of years, I've started realizing that that's no different than just putting a Band-Aid. It's not fixing the cause. Yes, we need the Band-Aid. We need help, stop the bleeding somehow, but we also need to try to prevent the wound in the first place. And having programs in place, like the judge, you said, the local judge there has some program. There are some programs there in your area to help abusers rehabilitate, or at least see the light, or understand and get better, right? I feel like it's so important that the awareness of even recognizing the signs before it even escalates to the point where it becomes violent, because in a relationship, it's never violent from day one, or hardly ever, because typically if you get in a relationship and day one the person is violent, chances are you walk away. But it doesn't happen like that. It's something that's gradual. So it's almost like you've been warmed up to it and you don't even see it coming, right? And I think I feel like it's important for all of us to be aware, to recognize the signs, and to also share with others what those signs are, so that they can protect themselves, whether they're men or women, to protect themselves from situations getting to a worse, to a point of no return, basically. Right. Because even if it doesn't end up with death, right, in a way, it can still end up with such severe PTSD that functionality and productivity in the rest of your life is just shot, because you're just a mess, right? Because that's all you can think of, and you can't even look at life in a nice, positive way, right? So I feel very strongly about that.
I do, and it's when I don't know how things are in other parts of the country or even in Canada. In where I live, the first offense is a misdemeanor. The second offense is also a misdemeanor, but with greater penalties. And the third offense is a felony. So on a felony domestic violence charge, they can go to prison for, many, many years. I hate that it takes 3 times for an offender to be charged with a felony offense. Our judge does offer a non-adjudication option for someone with a first offense. he will say, okay, you have to pay this fine, you have to attend this 6-month long program, and then come back for review. And so we're trying to, on a first offense, we're trying to offer options to get that person straightened out then, and let them know, this isn't acceptable morally, socially, legally, or any other way. You're not justified in doing what you did. And some people need mental help. I mean, how do you address someone who, there was a case here several years ago where the guy poured gasoline down the girl's throat and lit her on fire. She burned from the inside out.
Oh, that is, I can't even,
Yeah, people running over somebody with a car, stabbing them, poisoning them. If they're intent on doing harm to someone, the method's not going to matter to them. They'll find a way. But it's what is it inside them that's making them want to be that violent?
Mm-hmm. That's why I was saying, whatever the cause is, it's never really the partner. It's who knows what's going on. And, maybe it is a mental issue. Well, obviously it is a mental issue. When it gets to that point, it has become a mental issue, whether it was not at first. But something brought it to that level. It's not an excuse in any way, shape, or form.
Right. But, what we can do, though, what we try and do, and, from a legal standpoint, as a woman, as, from a Shimmy mob standpoint, is let women know they have an option. There's help out there, and we can help you get to that help. And I think that's a large part of what I want to do with my involvement in Shimmy Mob.
Mm-hmm.
I may not make the most amount of money, but I want to put it out there, hey, this service is available. They're here for you. They can give you a place to stay. They can get you out of your situation and keep you safe until you get a plan.
Has that happened? Have you had that encounter? Because we have had this happen in other locations over the last few years, where just because of the presence of our group, some people have asked, and they actually got help because they were pointed. And you know what? We don't know. We probably saved their lives because we don't know where it would have been if they hadn't, right? Have you had that experience in your team?
We have had people who didn't realize the extent of the services offered by our charity, and when they got out, they were like, hey, I can get help getting out of this. I don't have to do this alone.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the other aspect of the creating awareness, just letting people know where the shelters are. Because I remember I didn't know the extent. I had heard of shelters, and ironically, when I started Shimmy Mob, I knew there were shelters, but I personally did not know the extent of what help is really out there and how much support you can get and guidance to take you from a super dangerous situation and totally protect you. And it's not just hiding you, but also help you along the way to get you into a new life or a new path away from that violence, away from all that. So yes.
Keeping people safe, because that's when women are in the greatest danger, is when they go to leave.
Yes. And yeah, that's absolutely true. Yes. That's statistical too, right? Yeah. So it's good to keep those places secret. I don't even know where our local shelter is, the office. I don't know where the actual shelters are. I've never been to the homes, even though I've been to their office many, many times. And I'm happy like that. I don't need to be there because I want to protect the people that are in there, right?
There's a reason people don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, simply because, occupational hazard, what I do for a living. But but yeah, there's a reason those locations are kept secret, and there is an administrative office where people can go and then be taken somewhere else. And law enforcement and our charity work very closely together to help get people out of these situations.
It's beautiful to see that actually is happening, where the law enforcement and the charities work together, and now you have Shamima working together as well. So it's kind of puts it all kind of like a nice bigger team. So I think you guys can even be even more impactful that way because of that. Because of that, yeah. So going back to dance.
Yay.
Yay. So you've been teaching for 3 years. Where do you teach, Michelle? You're lovely, by the way.
Oh, you're so sweet. I teach at Elegance Ballroom Dance Studio in beautiful downtown Meridian. We are in East Central Mississippi. We are about 20 miles from the Alabama state line. Mississippi and Alabama are actually called the Twin States if you look at them on the map.
That's why I thought it was Alabama. That's what got me confused, because I knew they were close.
And we're called the Twin States. I'd love to give a shout out to Leslie Lee. She's the owner of the dance studio here and where I teach. And so we have practice space whenever we want it. And she is so supportive of what we're doing. And we're very lucky to have a nice studio and a great location. We're right next door to one of our other sponsors, the Brick House Boutique. They have a lovely yard outside. You may have seen the video of Petite Jamila and one of her girls doing a Polynesian dance. We did a hafla. We did our Shimmy mob performance, and we followed it with a hafla and did some belly dance and Polynesian dance. We had Renegade Roxy here from Atlanta doing fire dancing, and just had a party and passed the hat. And we had the representatives. We had 3 or 4 representatives from Care Lodge here, and so they got up and talked about about their organization and the services they offer. And we had a great time, and we're right here in downtown Meridian in a great location. So we're very blessed to have the venue, to have the practice space. So we're in a pretty good position, and I'd love to see it grow.
That is awesome. And you have a dance troupe. What's the name of your dance troupe?
We are Sisters of the Phoenix Belly Dance, and we're on Facebook. And we have members. We have members from different walks of life, and we have our core troupe is comprised of one person from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, about an hour and a half away, and we have most everybody travels to get here to Meridian for practice. So
that's nice.
But we enjoy spending time together. We're great friends aside from the dance environment, and so we just have a great time together. You know, this is our opportunity to have girl time and dance and learn new stuff. We love supporting other dancers in the area. Anybody in the Southeast that's within reasonable driving distance, if they're having an event, we love to try and go and participate, support that event. You know, we hope they'll turn around and support us in our events, because that's the only way we can continue to do stuff like this, is if we support each other.
Mm-hmm. That is fantastic. And all the people watching this, if you happen to go and visit Mississippi, go visit Michelle. Take a class.
Yes, please come see me.
Can people drop in if they're coming from out of town and they're just kind of stopping by and coming through? Do you allow that?
We do allow that, because we do a drop-in. We do a drop-in fee, so you can just drop in on the class and pay to take the class, or you can sign up with the studio and pay by the month and take everything the studio offers.
There you go. There's another option. That's awesome.
And have a lot of different types of classes, different types of dance and fitness classes, and we do fun events here too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for applying, for being part of the series. It's been absolutely amazing talking to you and getting some insights from your local area and all that's going on there. And I am extremely grateful for you for signing up as a team leader, taking the lead, and returning and seeing the benefits of participating and how it can help your local community as well as the global community. And for those people who are watching, you can find Michelle on Facebook. Just go facebook.com/what was it? What was it? Sisters of the Phoenix. Sisters of the Phoenix. And we'll have a link here in the video, so you can follow along there as well. So thank you again, Michelle, and everyone. See you next time. Thank you so much for watching the Shimmy Mob video spotlight series. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment below. And if you would like to be featured in the future, send us an email at shimmymob@gmail.com.